smoked caramel apple pie on Smokin and Drinkin. Hey, welcome back to Smokin and Drinkin. I'm Mike, and today we're going to make a caramel apple pie with lattice crust. It's going to be a little bit of a job, but shouldn't be too bad. Let's get started. So I've got, I think it's 6 apples here, probably too many. I've got a mix of Granny Smith, Honey Crisp, and a couple of Fuji, I think, in there. So should be a nice mix of apple, different tartness and sweetness. The other ingredients that we have half a cup of granulated sugar, a quarter cup of brown sugar, quarter cup of all-purpose flour, and we have a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a quarter teaspoon of ground nutmeg, a quarter teaspoon of salt. We have we'll put a tablespoon of lemon juice in there, and then we have our caramel. I have half a cup of caramel. I bought the little cubes, the individually wrapped cubes, unwrapped them and cut them into quarters, just so we don't have big clumps of caramel, that same argument. So we don't have big clumps of caramel in our pie. It wouldn't be horrible, I guess, but maybe get a little more evenly distributed. So that is our caramel. And then, of course, we have our glass pie pan that I use just for smoking. So, and we're going to use, I'm not going to make the crusts from scratch. We're going to use just the pie crusts that you get from the grocery store. So just takes so much time to make it. It'd be better to make it from scratch, but who's got the time? So let's get started putting our ingredients together. We're gonna use this big old plastic bowl today. So let's get started with the filling. So we're gonna put our apples. Ooh, should have got a bigger bowl for these apples too. There will be extra. I know from other times I've made this. I like to just put them in a separate pan with all of that goodness in there, and just make some warm apples, just for kind of like a little snack or dessert. So there will be extra. That's okay. Okay, we got our apples, and then we're going to add all of our other ingredients. Our granulated sugar. This is going to make kind of a syrup. That's real nice. And then we got our brown sugar, one big old clump. Just break that up a little bit. And we have our flour. This just makes it thicken up a little bit, the flour. So you have more of a syrup than a runny syrup. And this is our cinnamon. I love cinnamon. Gives it such a great taste. Our nutmeg. Nutmeg always reminds me of the holidays. Christmas. Love the smell of nutmeg. And our salt. Just table salt. That's all we're using today. Okay. And we're going to use half of our caramel. I'm going to guess. I'll break them up, make sure they're getting distributed real well. There we go, that's about half. Then we need to mix it up real well. Big old wooden spoon. And the juice from the apples and the lemon juice will help make that syrup. In hindsight, I'm thinking maybe I should have waited with the caramel. They probably all fell to the bottom. We'll make sure they're distributed. Let's see. Need to add our lemon juice in there. Almost forgot that. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Okay. Fighting a bit of a cold today. You can probably hear it. I sound all nasally. Yep, I should have waited with the caramel chunks. You can also use caramel. I'm going to say caramel. That's the way we say it here in the Midwest. You can use caramel syrup also. I could also melt those. It'd be a lot thicker than a caramel syrup, but it's all right. It's going to all melt in there real good. So, all right. Now, we're going to set that aside, and we're going to get our crust. Hello, causing problems here. We'll get our crust going here. All right, let's get our first pie crust. These are so much easier and so much faster than making it from scratch. My mom would be upset. She'd say, Mike, why don't you make them from scratch? They're so much better. She's right. But she also appreciated the value of time as well. All right, so we just want to lay your crust into your pan, make it kind of even, press out the edges. Make sure you don't have any pockets in the edges. Kind of flatten it out. Okay, and then we want to let's see, do we want to egg wash the bottom? I don't believe so. That's more for browning. So, okay, so then we just add our filling, our pie filling. I want to get them, make sure they're settled in there real well. We want to get as many of these in here as we can. Like I said, we'll probably have leftover, but we can fill it pretty full because we can. My grandma used to make pies, and they were just huge, mounded up. It was awesome. I'd go to her house after school. She was close by, and she'd have pies cooling in the windows. Back in the day, huh? Okay, we could get a few more. We might get most of these in here. Don't want to get them on the edges, because then your top crusts won't fit to your bottom crusts. It won't adhere. Got a lot of caramel in there. I tell you, I'm just going to call it my way, caramel. What do you all say? Caramel, caramel, they're spelled the same way. We Americans, sometimes we say things differently. A lot of times we say things differently. And we got some of that brown sugar in the bottom too. We didn't get it mixed up real well. Just going to mix it up with my hands. Okay, we might be able to just squeeze a couple more in here. Don't get greedy. That'll all settle out and settle into the crevices. There we go. I think I'm going to stop there. That's pretty good. There was only a few left. So let's put that over here. Rinse my hand off a little bit. Okay, now we're going to set that aside for a minute because we need to make our lattice top crust. So we'll put this aside for a moment. You know what? I'm going to add these remaining caramel to the top. Just they can melt down into it. Oh boy, this is going to be good. I love apple pie anyway, but boy, with a little bit of caramel in there, that's going to be delicious. Okay, let's set that aside and get our other crust out. Okay, let's get our crust rolled out. Got the Traeger preheating to 375 with pecan pellets. I thought pecan might add a nice nutty smoke flavor to it. You could use apple wood as well. So, all right, lay your crust out nice and flat. And if you're making your own from scratch, you probably want to put some flour down. But these that I buy, they're kind of pre-floured. They don't stick to the table, so at least I don't think so. We'll find out. But I'm going to use my pizza cutter to cut my lattice strips. And you want to cut them probably a ½ inch, 3/8 to ½ inch thick. I'm going to probably go, I don't know, we'll just kind of guess. You can use a ruler and measure if you want them really neat. I'm not quite that neat, so we're just going to start here, and we're probably about a ½ inch. And you want to just go all the way across. Probably should just cut once, otherwise you get a little extra, like I just did. It's not rocket science. You know, it's, that one got a little big. And my strips are varying from 5/8 to 3/8 in thickness, because I don't eyeball very well, but that's okay. Nothing in the world is perfect, and therefore neither are my creations. But we can always try. Strive for near perfection, right? Okay, so we got our strips cut. Then I should have done that over here. Now I'm fighting for workspace here. And we're going to just go like this. Then you want to just lay your strips, 5 to 7 strips, evenly spaced. I'm going to start with the second one here. Hopefully, because of my huge pile of apples, they'll reach. You want them to reach to each edge of the bottom crust. We're going to try and pinch them off after a little bit here. Oh, I should have been skipping every other one here as I'm picking them up too. Okay, well, let me do this. I'm going to put that one down. Move that one over. You might ask why. Well, the middle ones are longer, obviously. So they fit better that way. Okay, we're back on track, more or less. We'll do one more here. One, two, three. We're going to do one more right there. Okay. And then you're going to take every other one. I'm going to put the ends on there too. You're going to take every other lattice and roll it halfway back. And then you're going to take your other strips. Let's start with that one. And you're going to lay them the other way with this even spacing again. Nope. Okay, and then you're going to lay these back over. And then you want to lay these back, every other one, the other way. And then you're going to take your remaining lattice crusts, and you're going to lay them down. Put your end one on. Hey, hold on to that one for a minute. And you lay them back crossed. Actually, I did not do that right. They're supposed to be alternating. Okay, so we want to lift that one up. See what I'm doing here? They're supposed to be alternating. I kind of screwed up there, so we'll fix it. It's okay. It's actually my first time doing this, so we'll just figure it out as we go here. It's okay. We're all learning together here. You'll figure it out too as you go here. Just like I did. That one should be over. There we go. And then okay, we're getting there. Over. And then just a couple more here. Whoops, pulled on the wrong side here. Over, and then again under. And that one over and under. Might have to fix them a little bit, straighten them out, but that's okay. I think we got her here. Oops, I got two of them going under. There we go. Now we're back on track on this side. Just take your time, work your way through it. Double check. I got a little bit of funkiness going on here. Every other one. That's okay. All right, there we go. Now we're good. Back on track. Over, under, over, under. Then, gotta go to this side and we gotta fix this stuff here. That one should be over. And that one should be under. If I'd have done this right from the start, we wouldn't be fighting this like this, but that's okay. Let's pull these back because we got to go from the center. Okay, so that one is going to be over. Nope. Over and under. And then this one's going to go under, over, under, and over. Now we're going a little faster. Over, under, over, and under. Okay, now it's starting to shape up. Over and under. Nope. Got distracted. We have lots of family coming over today, so there's a lot of activity going on in this house. Okay, got a couple that are out of whack, but I'm not going to worry about it because, you know, when it comes right down to it, it's about the taste. So that one's going to go over, and then that one's going to go under, over and under. That one's sliding down. Gonna have to make sure you keep them. Aha, there's our problem. Just take your time, work through it, work the problem. Okay, I'm gonna go over. One more here. We're getting on it. We're about there. Hey, I think we got her. Pretty close anyways. A couple of little oopsies. But then you want to kind of press your edges down. Press your lattice on top of the edge of your bottom crust. Make it kind of nice if you can. And then we're just going to trim off that excess. Let's use this one. I want a good sharp knife. Just slice down along the edge of the pie pan. My pie pan has handles, so I'm gonna have to trim that edge there a little bit over the handles. To try and get one without handles, and I'll show you why in a moment here. Okay, that's one side. Let's finish the other side here. Okay, there we go. That's looking pretty good. There you go. Now, the reason I was talking about the handles, I have a crust protector. Not sure where it is. I'll have to, I think it's in the cabinet. But if the edges start to burn, you can take this little aluminum rim and lay it around the edge, and it protects the edges. But it has to lay on top of these handles. So that's why I was just talking about a different pie pan, but this one works fine. Okay, so I think we got a little ways for the Traeger to get heated. So one more thing I almost forgot. I want to brush an egg wash. It's just one egg and about tablespoon of water beaten, and you just want to brush it over the top of your crust, your lattice crust, and that's going to give it that nice golden brown color. Sorry, got distracted again. Okay. Work around the edges here. You can be liberal. It doesn't matter. It's going to bake right in. Just try not to move your lattice. Don't brush too aggressively. Yeah, got a couple of them that were over instead of under, or vice versa, but that's okay. And then, just to add a little something, I'll sprinkle just a little bit of white sugar over the top. Gives that just a little bit of a texture, a little bit of sweetness. You don't want to get too heavy. And then that'll also kind of brown up and look real nice too. So, you know, they say you eat with your eyes, so you want it to be nice. There are certain things, foods that just don't look nice or sound nice, like haggis. I'm sure haggis is delicious, but it doesn't sound nice. But, you know, presentation is important. So, okay, so I think our Traeger is up to temp. So we're going to get this out on the Traeger, and we're going to bake it for, how long are we baking this? I believe it was an hour. Okay, 350, and we're going to go 50 to 60 minutes. That's what I was thinking. So we'll get it out on the Traeger. We'll set our timer for 50 minutes. We'll check it. We'll probably check it at 30 minutes, make sure the edges aren't burning. If they are, we'll put that handy little rim on there, or tin foil, aluminum foil. You can put that around the edges too. So, all right, we'll get this on the Traeger and we'll check back. All right, it's been 50 minutes and let's go check it. I think it's probably going to be done, but let's go check it and get it back in here if it's done. Oh boy, that looks and smells delicious. It came out as close to perfect as a guy could hope for. Wow, that looks good. All right, I decided, I looked in the back of my fridge and I saw that I did have some caramel dessert topping. So I think I'm going to drizzle a little bit on the top, since it is a caramel apple pie. Give a little hint that it is caramel in there. So we're going to just drizzle some of this over the pie. I'll get a nice visible ribbon. That's not real visible. Need a little bigger bead, I think. Don't want a big glob. There we go. Just a little hint, let you know that there's some caramel on there. That sugar topping is kind of sparkling in there. Oh boy, this looks wonderful. All right, well, we'll just let that. Now, we need to let that sit for a little while. We want to let it sit for at least an hour to let the filling set up in there. It's going to continue, like most things you smoke, it's going to continue to cook a little bit, soften those apples a little more. So we're going to let it set for about an hour, and plus it would be lava hot for me to take a bite. So we're going to let that set, and we'll be back in an hour. All right, we've got it off the Traeger. We've had it sitting for an hour, cooling, letting the filling set. So we're ready to dig into this and get a taste. Hate to cut into it, it looks so beautiful, but gotta give you guys an idea of what it tastes like. Like I said earlier, got a bunch of family coming, so can't wait to share this with them. Trying not to butcher the whole thing. Just a small sliver. Better is if I had a little bit of ice cream to go on the top. Let's give it a taste here. Wow, that is sweet and tart. You get a little bit of that cinnamon and nutmeg in there, and the caramel. Oh boy. That caramel really adds a nice little touch to it. I love apple pie anyway, but caramel, wow, give it a bite. The apple slices are not mushy, they're a little bit crisp, which I kind of like that. Oh boy. Well, that about does it for the smoked caramel apple pie. As always, thanks for tuning in to Smokin' and Drinkin', and remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. As always, Prost! Wow.